Hello race fans, Peter Mackay here, welcoming you to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series here at the beautiful Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Joining me today, back home here again in Indiana, is Austin Knight. Austin, how are you feeling for the return to the Ricmotech paddock after a couple of weeks off?
I'm so glad to be back here in the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series here in wonderful Indianapolis, Indiana, for another great round of these MX-5s versus Mustangs. I've been having a great time ever since Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever that update stopped, and you and I, we've just been Corvetting it out, but we're going to take a break from there and go back to some good old classic American muscle and Japanese American muscle.
Absolutely. So, to give you just a little bit of a recap on the goings-on here in the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series and a look around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, here's a little look at a video from our sponsors, Ricmotech.
Welcome everyone to Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, located here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today in the Ford Mustang. Let's talk about the oval course for a moment here. It was actually constructed in 1909, and the first auto event was held on August 19th of that same year. It wasn't until 2000 that the infield road course was added and was the home of the first U.S. Grand Prix. It is the only motorsports facility in the U.S. designated as a National Historic Landmark. Well, let's go for a spin around this 13-turn high-speed road course as we get moving down the front straightaway. Notice the grandstands to the left, which is not common as the oval course runs counterclockwise here, and those stands to the left would be on driver's right. As we head down this fast front straight, this is a great opportunity for slipstream and drivers to overtake their competitors coming down here into turn one. Very difficult corner actually to get this right because turn two comes right back to the left, so it's very difficult to get that entry right. This leads us into turn three, a fast right-hand sweeper. Got to get on the brakes right away out of three so we can get that entry into four. Coming up out of four, wide track out, good fast section here through five. And then this takes us down into a hard braking zone. Really got to lay on that brake. Get that car to rotate down to the bottom of six here. Want to come right out to the left to set up that tight entry into seven, which opens up wide on the exit into a short little straightaway here. This will take us down to turn eight. Obviously another opportunity for overtaking on this little straightaway here, coming down into eight. But this is a difficult section here, the 8, 9, 10 complex. Through eight. Back hard on the brakes into 9 to the right, and then we're going to whip it right back to the left here out of 10. Want to get that wide entry into 11, up through the gear. Easy on the accelerator, want to track out right to the edge of that course. Coming down through 12, this brings us back up onto the oh-so-familiar oval portion of Indianapolis Speedway. This will bring us down into 13. Wide open through here, obviously, up into fifth gear. Coming out of 13, this will bring us right to the stripe here, and that is your track guide for Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the infield road course. Thank you for being with us.
Welcome back then to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. That brings you up to date with what to expect here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course, not the more well-known 2.5-mile oval. So let's have a look then at the championship standings, starting with our GS class, which is competed with the wonderful, like as my esteemed colleague Austin said, American muscle of the Ford Mustang. Leading the championship right now is our series organizer, Kevin Ford, in the number 32 Ricmotech machine, leading with 160 points. However, the brutally fast Estonian Aero Nom only 11 points behind, and he's looking very quick in practice so far. Tyler Shiflett is in third, not too far behind either, with Jeff Jacobs in fourth, David Sanders in fifth, followed by Steve Daniel, Cameron Martineau, Robert Brist, Clint Vigas, Tony Kernan, and Randall McGrew. We take a look at the ST Pro class, which is our Spec Miatas, or MX5s as they call them here in Europe. John Allen leading the way right now with 172 points from the incredible Mike Dam, the 93, who sits on 158. But watch out for last time out race winner at Montreal, Elvis Rankin, on 151. We know just how quick young Elvis is. Travis Schwenke sits in fourth on 140 points. George Fike is in fifth. Jacob Beasley sixth, followed by Chris Thorman, David Payton, Cliff Eben, Robert Hartley, and Scott McClendon. So our drivers are out qualifying right now. My apologies, I forgot about the ST Open, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Greg Mack leads the ST Open class on 119 points, quite convincingly from Mike Taylor on 95. Greg Brockway is third on 87, Mitchell Peake on 85 points, and Michael Key on 84. And you'll see how the rest of the runners run down there on the screen. So, our drivers are out on the Indianapolis road course right now, setting their fastest possible lap times to try and get a good position on the grid for today's 60-minute race. And what's crucial here in these particular qualifying sessions is that the drivers get the complete solidarity of the track to themselves, which makes a big difference to be able to lay down that hot lap time, Austin.
Yeah, Indianapolis Road is very fun, especially, I would like to say, the controversial layout of this track, famous for that, or infamous for that F1 2005 Grand Prix where tires blew up and only 6 cars took the start. And, well, it was the most angry I've ever seen this place ever, because I was at that race. But this layout is certainly very fun to drive, especially in the Mustang and Miatas. It's so fun to drive your own, especially that final corner where you're running up through that banking. And I do know that they do have a scan coming for the updated road course. That should be here in 2021. So, hashtag iRacing soon.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, iRacing been absolutely on the game recently with lots of really cool updates. And we knew the P2 car was coming for a little while, and we knew that some little changes to like grass and ambient noise and stuff like that. And then they just hit us with a sledgehammer that, you know what, guys? Christmas has come early. You're going to get a Corvette C8R. I nearly fell off my chair when I read it. So
when I saw the Corvette racing, in one broadcast, I said the C8R is coming to iRacing, and I think I got laughed at. I'm just like, what now? The best part is Corvette leaked it. Corvette Racing revealed it before iRacing did.
I tell you what, even if anyone could have announced it, it was just such a surprise, but brilliant indeed. But of course, what we've got here today, we've got obviously the Ford Mustang, another piece of American muscle, but we've got two very different cars here. The Mustang, very heavy, very powerful, a little bit more horsepower per ton, but not much more than Miata, but does make its lap time in different ways. You'll see the Mustang really opening up on the straights, but the little Miata is it's fantastic around these twisty sections here at the Indy Road Course. And Austin, you've actually done some laps here in the real world. To me, certainly from driving on the sim, it seems like a very technical circuit. Is that how you found it?
It's technical, but it's more technical throttle application than steering and corner entry. And the opening sector to that turn 1, turn 2 sector, it's so technical to get in there and get that right on that braking and then corner entry. It with that little curb that iRacing has on there, that's not in real life, so you can attack that corner a little bit sharper. But that curb in single seaters that I usually race in, you want to avoid that. In these sports cars, though, you can hit that just fine, and you'll absorb that curb very easily. But that opening sector, it's very flowing, kind of relaxing. I just love driving that sector. The second part, I like to call it Museum, Sector 3. That one is super tricky because you got that little tight chicane right there. And if you just get on the power a little bit too early, you're going off into that grass and you're spinning around into traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, these little Miata Mazdas, these are a wonderful way to learn any circuit. And of course, if you're watching this broadcast here on Apex Racing TV for the first time, first of all, welcome. I hope you enjoy the broadcast. We can certainly assure you there's going to be some cracking racing from these guys this evening. But this car on screen right now, the Mazda MX-5 or Miata, is the car that basically you learn your stripes on in the iRacing service, and a brilliant car to learn racecraft and car control in. It doesn't have traction control, no ABS either, but it just is such a lovely balanced little car. And I think back to our race all the way back at the end of July. It was the last round of this championship, the Classic Sprint Series, Austin. And if you remember all the way back, that was the incredible race that we had at Montreal, which was just absolute action all the way through.
Yeah, Montreal is famous for bringing action to these Miatas. The MX-5, the only rookie road car that you can race outside of Delara Dash. But this is the only rookie car that you'll get your license from by racing in there, and it's the first step into iRacing, and that series is so fun. A very good learner series. It sometimes feels like you're banging your head against the wall because of, well, you're against people who haven't driven on a sim before, or they're trying to drive on a sim, or they just came over from Forza. They think they can drift around every corner. A little bit of salt right there. Just, it's very tricky, but when you get a hang of it, oh, that series is so fun. And then it just opens up the doors to the beautiful world of the iRacing Road Series. All the single seaters, all the sports car options, and the sports cars that iRacing has, just absolutely fantastic. I'm a single seaters guy, so I wish they had Skip Barber as a rookie, but that's just big.
Yeah, it's actually a really well thought out system. And if you are watching this for the first time and thinking this looks like a lot of fun, well, get yourself on iRacing.com, and if you're thinking about investing in a sim setup in your home, give the guys at Ricmotech a call. They produce wonderful high-performance sim racing equipment. Give them a shout, and they'll be able to set you up with all the right gear, and you will be amazed by the realism not only of the software of this iRacing.com simulator, but more so the hardware that the guys at Ricmotech can provide you with. So, about 10 minutes of qualifying down so far. At the moment, well, surprise, surprise, the Wonder Kid Elvis Rankin, 1 minute 43.294. He's the fastest of the ST runners in the Mazdas. And interesting, Jeff Jacobs leading by 0.237 of a second from the quick Estonian Aero Nom. So really good run from Jeff Jacobs. And of course we've got Kevin Ford, championship leader, in there in 4th spot as well. So I tell you what, Jeff wasn't the fastest in practice. That honour went to Aero Nom, but he's laid down a quick time there, Austin.
Yeah, Jeff Jacobs putting down the gauntlet right now. And that Sector 2 that he's got is just insane. 0.3 faster than Aero Nom, who looks like his Sector 2 wasn't the best, but Aero Nom's Sector 1 was purple, and Jeff Jacobs' Sector 2 was purple. Sector 3, it's currently up in the air right now, but Jeff Jacobs is very quick. He's a 10th faster in there. We're breaking it down right now as we're looking at Aero Nom. He just came through Sector 2. He just put purple by 0.2 into Sector 2. Aero Nom, purple Sector 1, purple Sector 2, heading into the museum chicane. And he's just blasting through these corners right now. It's so fun to hit these corners in this section, just at the speed you want to. So he comes back onto this famous oval, and this is just beautiful, especially in this Ford Mustang. Open up all the power through turn 1 we go, or the last corner, but turn 1 Indy onto the front straight. Are we going to see Aero Nom Swipe it clean. Purple all the way around. Yes, it is. Aeronom up into provisional pole by half a second.
Ouch. Well, that was an absolutely cracker of a lap there from Aeronom, channeling his countryman Oit Tanak, the reigning world rally champion there. Just to tell you what, Austin, these big Mustangs, they've got a lot of weight, and they take quite a lot of hustling through the infield there, and Aero just looking so smooth, really sort of masking the weight of that car. You often see that car rolling about all over the place, but an absolutely stunning lap time too, taking 7/10 off his previous best.
Yeah, that Ford is very heavy. It's kind of a handle, but if you want to cut your teeth in car setup, that Ford is something you really want to master, especially in a weight transfer area.
Yeah, there's certainly plenty of it to move around, but tell you what, speaking of on the limit, Elvis Rankin wringing the neck of his Orion Racing Mazda MX-5 Miata right now, heading out onto the oval. Again, he's already in pole position by 0.191 from his new teammate, Mike Dam. But let's see where Elvis is going to. So we're looking at Travis Schwenke now, who's also in the same colours as young Elvis. Where is Travis going to end up? He's not on a lap here, looks like.
Yeah, that was a cool-down lap.
Yeah, it was a cool-down lap. Yeah. So, go on.
Nothing about it screamed flyer. It was yellow through all the sectors. You could tell in qualifying, if you really don't know much about motorsports, this is your first dive into motorsports. Well, green means they're going faster, yellow, not so good, and purple, I'm not sure where purple meant they are the fastest, but a purple sector means you are the fastest person through that sector, and a purple time is you set the fastest lap. Not sure the origins of the color purple being the fastest. I'm pretty sure, Peter, you might know that.
I'm guessing here, Austin. I'm going to admit that I'm guessing, because I'm likely to get it wrong. There is a saying, you're going through a purple patch, which means you're going through a good patch. Like if a team are winning a lot, you would say a purple patch. So maybe that's where it comes from. You know, it sounded purple, maybe like the colour of velvet, quite royal, quite high end. I don't know. I'm going to go with purple patch, I think.
Yeah, I just never guessed why it was purple.
Yeah.
It's
certainly easy to spot. It's certainly very easy to spot, that's for sure, which is good. And I tell you what, there is nothing more satisfying, whether you're a driver or I'm sure, especially if you're a team owner and you're watching your driver putting purple sectors on the timing screen. You're going to be very happy indeed. So Cameron Martineau still out on track, circulating in his number 31 Ford Mustang. And it makes just a wonderful noise, this car. This is what race cars should sound like. Proper big American rumble. Oh, listen to this, Austin. That's what it's all about. And there's an engine starter button, even better.
Yeah, that engine start button is everything, and it's push to start, baby.
Yeah, you can just hear it. Sorry, go on.
As we came around turn 1, I'm pretty sure people heard my favorite addition that just came into this update. The ambient sounds has arrived, and these are iRacing ASMR has arrived. And let me tell you, I fell asleep to it last night, and it was beautiful.
What you do in your own time is your own business, Austin. So anyway, let's see how they line up then for the 60-minute race here in the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. Aeronom puts it on pole position from Cameron Martineau, putting in a quick lap at the end there. He'll roll off from second place. Jeff Jacobs, oh, my apologies, we've got some radio chatter here.
Away from me on the last minute, his last run. Good job, Cameron. Going to line up in the second row there at the front of the Mustang class. And then Elvis Rankin takes the top spot. Good run for Elvis at 43.2. With Mike Dam next to him on the front row of the Mazdas. Good luck, everybody. Have fun.
That was one of our race marshals coming up there. That was actually Jeff Jacobs talking about the starting row, but it's Aeronom on pole, followed by Cameron Martineau, Jeff Jacobs, Tony Kernan, Kevin C. Ford, Clint Vegas, Steve Daniels, David Sanders, Robert Briss, and Shad Curran are Mustang starters, and Peter, you're going to carry through our MX-5s. Sorry about us taking that entire way.
Not a problem, not a problem. Of course, we've got Elvis Rankin and Mike Dam on the front row of the grid for the ST runners, followed by John Allen, who rolls off in 13th overall, 3rd in class. 14th is Clifford Eben, 15th Travis Schwenke, 16th Jacob Beasley, followed by Jordy Fike, Mitchell Peake, Greg Mack, Brennan Huron, David Payton, Greg Brockway, Edgar Sancinelli, and Chris Thorman. And finally, rounding out our runners is Derek Holland, Mike Taylor, Michael Key, Lucas Ford, Nicholas Parcheneau, Casey Duncan, and Patrick Prevenis. And Stuart Marshall does not exist. It's just a glitch on our time. It's Stuart Marshall. That would make a good name for a racing driver, actually. But our drivers are now lined up behind, fittingly, the Ford Mustang pace car, the iRacing pace car, and we wait for our drivers to lead off on a full pace lap here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a beautiful facility which is now 111 years old, but built to test, basically to test vehicles to their limit, road vehicles initially, but of course racing was never far away. And in fact, the first ever competitive event here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was actually got nothing to do with motors at all. In fact, it was a gas air balloon race, Austin.
Yeah, they took off in the infield of Indianapolis, and I believe they went to, I'm not sure on how far the race was, but this was the takeoff point for those hot air balloons. And if you ever seen old-timey commentaries about race broadcasts, they would talk that very high-end voice, and there's a certain skit out there, and here we are at the Zeppelin race, and I feel like that was very entertaining to watch in those times. But now it's the Temple of Speed here in America. It's the beautiful, the greatest place in the world, in my opinion, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now owned by Roger Penske. A lot of big things coming to this track. A few series coming back to this track, hopefully. And I'm just very excited to see what happens here. And this place is just massive.
Yeah, it's one that's very high up the bucket list for me. The 250,000 permanent seats. What an incredible arena. The home to the largest single-day sporting event in the world, the Indianapolis 500, which of course came to a rather dramatic conclusion just a matter of weeks ago with
GS, pack up
taking
and pair
on.
up,
Let's hear from our race
start
steward.
speed, let the safety car get away. GS, pack up and pair up, start speed, please.
That pace car is pulling up right now. The race control telling our Mustang class, our GS class, to start pacing up.
ST, pack up and pair up, please. Prepare for the start. Start speed, pack up
Ready there
and
to
pair up.
unleash
Start
all
speed.
the horsepower from these big American V8s. They will go off first with our MX-5 Miata runners right behind. First pole sitter Aeronom controls the pace, the Estonian. Cameron Martineau right beside him, just giving him that little bit of an edge as the pole sitter. We wait for that loud pedal to be depressed, and we will be off.
The pace car is off.
The pace car is off. Aeronom just holding them that little bit longer. Over we go then, just taking it very gently.
Green flag.
There he goes!
yeah.
We're go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Aeronom gets an excellent launch in the number 78 car. And Cameron Martineau bogs down a little bit. And Jeff Jacobs, I think, might get the run into him into turn one.
Jeff Jacobs holding down that inside line. He might try to send it on the 31 of Martineau, and he is. Jacobs grinding that curb. And he's going to try to hold it around the outside. Martineau looking down to the inside. Now Martineau around the outside as our MX-5s are starting right now. But Aeronom already 1 second gap to the lead as Jeff Jacobs and Karen Martineau fight it out right behind him as here comes our MX-5 spreading all down the grid as we are going down the straight heading into turn one. They're almost going 3 wide. And oh, little bit of contact already for Allen and Mike Dam. Side by side, but Allen shot it up to the inside. Mike Dam got a little bit loose under braking. Mike Dam's already sideways out. Dam's falling down as Evan gets ahead of him. And now it's Rankin, Allen, and Eben, our top 3. Mike Dam, very bad start on the entrance of Sector 1. Very loose at the end of that car.
Yeah, I think Mike Dam actually tagged the back of his teammate, Elvis Rankin. Controversially, of course, Mike Dam joined that Orion Racing team last time out in the GT Challenge Championship here in the Ricmotech paddock and had a convincing win at Laguna Seca. Really impressive drive, but not a good start today. And it'd be interesting if we might be able to get a replay of that for you, but it definitely did make contact with the back of Elvis Rankin's machine. But it hasn't kept the Wonder Kid back. He takes the lead then with Allen and Eben right behind. Eben, he is also in the ST Open class as well, so he's doing well, mixing up there with the pros.
Yes, Elvis Rankin benefiting a lot from Mike Dam and falling down the field just a little bit. Not as much as Jeff Jacobs, but speaking of Jeff Jacobs, Aero Nom has the overall lead now.
Yeah, Aero Nom got off to an absolute rocket of a start. He was 10 car lengths ahead by kind of halfway through the first lap, so he's just showing how he's been the pace of the field. He is sitting in second in the championship, 11 points behind Kevin Ford, but remember, Aero Nom has missed quite a few rounds, so that's where that comes from. But Jeff Jacobs, he's in there. He's looking in sprightly mood today, Austin. He's not letting Aero Nom get away.
Jeff Jacobs is certainly looking insanely quick today. And oh, we got a car off and
Kevin
into the
Ford.
wall. Kevin C. Ford into the tire barrier, coming out of Sector 1. And this might be a little bit of... Oh, he's hit the curb.
Oh, wiggle. Oh, dear. Oh, Kevin. Well, these Ford Mustangs are made of tough stuff, so... hopefully, it was just quite a light contact with the wall there, but puts him right down the bottom of the pack. Now, we must make our viewers aware that in this 60-minute race, all of our drivers have to come in for one pit stop. So, whenever the drivers do come in for their pit stop, they'll just be taking fuel. Tyres should be able to last this whole 60 minutes, even with the high track temperature we have today. But when you do come into pit lane, you do have that opportunity to get some repairs. So watch out for that, as the drivers will play that into their strategy as the race goes on.
Now, as you watch our Fords, you're going to see them kind of spread out and follow each other. The MX-5, they handle a little bit differently because the way that the race is very different compared to the Ford. The MX-5, the Cup version, it doesn't have any solid top. It's just windshield, roll bar, and it's a very draggy car, which means it's very easy to follow and stay in the draft of the car in front of you. So you're going to be seeing a lot of pack racing down the straight, and these MX-5s are going to be an entire good point to watch throughout this entire race. And you can already see that even though Aero Nom is, Elvis Rankin has put in a great start, had a great lead, the draft of the cars behind him were able to stay with him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it's kind of like watching a Moto 3 motorcycle race. It's such good pack racing, and really it's just about keeping yourself in touch and being there at the end of the race. Then you can really get your elbows out. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Austin. The drafting opportunities, just where that car punches, the car in front just punches a big hole in the air for you. It really makes a big difference with these MX-5 Miatas. They're just fantastic little cars to race and provide such wonderful racing. We're riding on board with Clifford Eben in the 055 machine as well. You'll also notice just how much these cars slide around. They've got tiny little skinny tyres, road tyres, which just skid and sweep all over the shop. I think they're BF Goodrich tyres from my memory, but you just see the very, very little grip, but wonderfully fun to skid and slide around.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing the fast guys work that wheel almost off the axis. Sometimes you turn it right to go left, sometimes you turn it left to go right. It's kind of like driving on dirt. But as we ride on board with Eben, look how much ground he's already gaining on Elvis Rankin. You're already up to the bumper right here, and he can choose to bump draft him or try to go for that lead, but he knows that draft is so powerful that we're going to bump draft here at Indianapolis, and this ain't a cup race. This is the MX-5s.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. He's going for the bump draft. You think he maybe just a little bit of psychology there as well? He definitely had a run to go past Elvis Rankin there. It looked to me, but I think he's just maybe just trying to get in the Wonder Kid's head. You know, he was just thought, I'll just give him a couple of nudges down the straight. But as we know, Austin, Elvis has got a very wise head on his shoulder, and you know that'll brush off him no problem, I would think.
It's very wise head for Elvis not to react much to it. It's a very simple bump draft, especially here going straight, not to negotiate around a giant oval turn. But what he's doing is he's trying to speed Elvis up and break off that gap to the other cars behind him. You got that current 5-car pack of Rankin, Eben, Dam, Allen, and Schwenke around that top 7 in the same class before we get to our fixed setup cars. And he's just trying to thin out that field by not battling for the lead and causing chaos behind him, because these MX-5s are very easy to follow. I'm going to say they're going to stay like this until pit stops come along.
Yeah, they're just all figuring each other out, aren't they? You just want to do a little bit of a research thesis on the car in front or behind you, just seeing where they're fast, where they're slow, or faster or slower than you. And that is important to know for later in the race. You might see some drivers, they'll play a little bit of rehearsal, a little bit of a dress rehearsal for moves later on in the race. But this is very much the consolidation point as well. Now, we're looking at Clint Vigas, the 71 car. He has got David Sanders in the 73 for company. And these are just completely... You couldn't get two more different race cars, could you? You know, big, massive, heavy, front-engined... coupe like the Mustang, and then the little flyweight Japanese 2-liter normally aspirated little Miata. They're just so different. A wonderful contrast.
It's a great contrast. We got some incident at turn 1 right now. It looks like David Payton may have spun around in the opening sector, and we do have a few cars around in turn 1 right now in our Miatas.
Okay, we'll try and get a look at that for you in a short moment. And then that's pertinent because we're heading down the back straight here for the Mustang runners. They're going to come onto the back of that Miata pack pretty soon then. So that incident is under review. The stewards here in the Ricmotech paddock, incredibly hot on any kind of overly aggressive driving. And speaking of aggressive, Elvis Rankin really working that car hard, but he has got Eben right on his tail. Look at the sliding around. Eben looking a little bit too loose almost, and Mike Dam's now onto the back. This is maybe a miniature 3-car
penalty car 56, incident responsibility.
Well, incident responsibility being right there, 56. And that will be the car of Mitchell Peak, and he's going to get a drive-through penalty. And you'll know when he comes through the pit lane. We'll know about it due to iRacing's ambient sound. And here is the replay of this incident. Mitchell Peak on the back of the black and blue car. This is a dive down there, and he just hits that curb, and oh no.
Well, I can see how that didn't take the stewards long to decide whose fault that was. That was, I don't think he was making that corner or even the next corner, Austin, unfortunately.
Eben's off!
Oh, he's off. Eben's off. He was just, that was in the post, I think, Austin. He was looking really, really loose, just trying to hang on to the back of Elvis Rankin, but just gets on that curb, and here we go. He was really loose before then. You're really on the edge of the grip. Yep, one wheel on the grass and flicks wide.
Yeah, oversteer is good in these cars because they're used to sliding, but when you go on the grass, just everything happens. And as we just saw 2 MX-5 incidents, I want to say something about this update. They implemented the new damage model to these MX-5s. So when we see MX-5 wreck, it's not going to be immediate chunkage on that car. It's going to be a little bit of a flowing. So if we're going to see a car hit a wall, we might see a wheel start rolling across the track, or a bumper hanging off a little bit. But that new damage model certainly very immersive, and a lot of mirrors have been hit by me over the week.
Yes, yeah, those little mirrors, you can just see them. It's like a roadkill almost at the side of the road. Okay, so this changes the complexion quite a bit now, because Mike Dam, earlier on in this season, in fact, the last time out back in July, Mike Dam was racing for a different team. Now he's racing for Orion Racing, the same team as Elvis Rankin. Now, I want to know your opinion on this, Austin. Do you think that's going to change the way that Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin race one another like they used to, or do you think that's going to change from now on?
Oh, that's a tough one, because I've switched teams a few times in my career. I've had rivals on the same team. I've had rivals on different teams. I never raced the same rival when I switched teams, though. I never had them on the same team for the championship. But what these guys do, knowing most competitors, they're going to race each other just the same. They're just going to give each other a little bit more space than what they will do. So I don't expect any door-to-door banging across the line since they're both running the same paints. But because you definitely don't want to have a collision with your championship rival, and you definitely don't want to have a collision with your teammates.
No, that is the big no-no, isn't it? It's motorsport is full of contradictions, isn't it, Austin? You know, the number one rule is don't lose to your teammate, but also the number one rule is don't crash into your teammate, which are two often, they're not exclusive things sometimes. And that is, there's a lot of number one rules in racing.
Yeah, I would say the most number one rule is pay your race fee.
Also important. Be nice to the commentator. Or that's maybe number 10 rule, actually.
Yeah, buy them a drink after the race.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Buy the producer a coffee to keep them awake listening to us talking. Oh, and Mike Dam goes past. So, interestingly, and getting very, very snaky in the braking there, to quote the great Jörg Bergmeister. He always used to say that about his Porsche 911. But Mike Dam encouraging the same body language out of his Miata there, getting very squirrely on the brakes, so clearly right on the limit. But he takes his turn now at the front of the race. Elvis Rankin drops back to second. This will be interesting to see if they now stretch out the field or if they keep on similar pace with Alan not too far behind.
Well, now that the field is very spread out in that top one, it's 4 cars at the front, and it's 3 Orion cars and 1 other car as we're watching this secondary fight in Eben, Huron, Picken, Beasley, and Greg Mack. Now we got 2 fixed cars in here aside from the open cars. The fixed cars are the ones with the red mirrors, and they're also noticed as the cars that have red by their name. Those cars are fixed setup. They can't do anything to it. And the open cars, the green ones, everything's open to mess with.
Yeah, and that's where it gets. Of course, with these Miatas, there isn't a massive amount to change on them. They are pretty simple race cars. They're designed to be that way. And in fact, Mazda is the most raced street production race car in the world. You'll see more Mazdas out racing at the weekend than any other. Oh, interesting! Elvis Rankin getting such a run there on teammate Mike Dam. They actually had to get into the brake. You saw the brake lights coming on at the back of his Miata, but he goes to the inside now, and despite that little break, he's actually got past Mike Dam with ease. But Alan and Schwenke, they are right in the draft here, so this is interesting. And of course, Austin, the draft is only really playing an effect on the front straight, but through this technical part, it's not so important.
Yeah, this technical part's not having a lot happening. These are going to get a little bit of a drag pull through this short chute right here, but really it's not going to affect how you turn in, because these cars don't have downfalls playing with them. Like most single-seaters would. But when they get onto the back straight, you're going to get a car running. I'm surprised we haven't seen anyone try to make a dive into the museum section right now. But what Rankin and Dam are doing right now is pure IndyCar strategy, just passing, cycling through each other on the front straight, on the straights, passing each other safely, so they both have the taste of the lead, and both of them are not really forcing a fight between them.
Oh, so we go back to our Mustang runners here. Aeronom leading the race by 3.3 seconds from Cameron Martineau. A little bit further back, we've got an excellent battle going on between Tony Kernan as well and Daniel. Now, look at this. This is where it gets interesting. Aeronom, our leader in the GS class, in the Mustangs, now on the back of the Miatas. And we've got one of the Miatas off there. I can't quite tell who that is on screen right now, but Aeronom, he's now going to be able to use the grunt of the Mustang and get past. But, you know, with a difference in lap time, only about 3 or 4 seconds difference in lap time between these cars. And all of that, for the Mustang anyway, is made up on the straight. So through the twisty bits, getting past the Miatas is going to be really, really tough for the Mustang.
Oh, Kernon's got a great run through the oval on Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs holding that inside line, but Kernon swung it around the outside. You don't see that a lot here on Indianapolis, but they're side by side as they're heading through across the line. Jacobs on that inside line and Kernon around the outside. Very late on the brakes, heading into turn one. Kernon swung it around the outside and up into third place on Jeff Jacobs. What a move by Tony Kernon.
It's not done yet though. Oh, that lunge you were talking about. Oh, it's just this lap traffic. This is where I think this is going to be one of the absolute keys to this race, Austin, is that more often than not, you know, they're so technical in the infield here. Oh, contact's going to be, oh my goodness me, that was very, very close. And of course, there's such a size difference between these cars as well. They look quite funny, actually, the little Miatas and the massive Mustangs. Well, this is going to be a factor all race long, I think, Austin, is how well both classes manage the traffic.
It is, and it's only going to get worse as we got avoidable contact warning for car 45. That was Brandon Coran in that. He's going to be in 7th right now, and I think that might have been one of the MX-5s that we were watching. Back up into the lead, and it's Rankin and Dam. And these two have been swapping positions, and it's a Orion 1-2-3 right now as Schwenke got past Allen. But Dam and Rankin have pulled away from the cars behind them.
Yeah, they have. I think one part of that is that, interestingly, Schwenke's got past Allen, and I think in the process of that, that's just allowed Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin to break away. And Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin know each other so well. They drive together in, you know, they race against one another in the sports car series, in the GT4s. They both race in the GT Challenge, but in different classes, and also here in the Classic Sprint Series. So they know each other inside out now at this stage of the season. And I think what's happening now, to me, to my eyes anyway, Austin, is that they're not fighting one another when the draft happens. If they see someone get the run, they let them go by and try to work together. And actually, they're doing it beautifully, because to get a breakaway in these MX-5s is not an easy feat at all. Oh.
Yeah, it's all about consistency and maybe offsetting your opponent just a little bit, but to pull out a lead in the MX-5 is very, very impressive, especially when the draft of the MX-5, it's such a draggy car. And around goes Allen, but he saved it from near disaster, but it's a Orion 1-2-3 now. And I feel like that pack of 3 cars is going to be able to pull away, but Allen got into the grass on the exit, heading back onto the oval, and yeah, he's out of that draft.
That is an unbelievable save from John Allen. Absolutely incredible to hang on to that and keep it out of the barrier. And look at this, bump drafting we go then. Mike Dam at the front of the field, Elvis Rankin right behind, just nudging along bumper to bumper. And yeah, Travis Schwenke is right with them. Now, this is interesting, Austin. Do you think, will these 3 guys all come into pit lane at the same time to make sure they keep in that draft, or will they take turns? How do you see it?
It can work either way. It's all up to the drivers. I know some teams, they all prefer to go into the pits at the same time, but if you're bumper to bumper with your teammate, that might compromise pit entry a little bit. If it is a 2-car battle, then it will probably be 1 car this time, 1 car this time by. In this 3-car battle, whoever you leave behind is going to have the advantage of staying behind the cars that are already ahead, getting that draft and getting a better lap time than you would So I expect all three of these guys to pit in at a different time, and I expect Schwenke to stay out the most from them.
Okay, let's see how it plays out as well, and also how Alan is able to recover as well in his green and black Miata. But it's a great day so far for Orion Racing. They're doing a bit of a Penske or a bit of a Ganassi here in the Ricmotech paddock, where they're buying up all the talent, Austin.
Yeah, and funny you mentioned Penske. That'll be a very big thing around this track, as it is owned by Mr. Penske, and the series that is famous on here, IndyCar, is also owned by Penske. But Penske, now he doesn't wear a t-shirt of Penske Racing. He now wears NTT IndyCar polo, so he is showing a little bit of non-biasness and non-riggingness. But with these guys, they're buying up all the talent. That's where the money is, and these guys can show it because they've certainly been winning a lot. And they separated. They did something very weird right there. They actually separated from each other heading into turn 1 and 2, but then they reformed up coming out of turns 3.
Yeah, interesting. It's well, it's certainly been a dominant season, of course, in IndyCar for Roger Penske's adversary, Chip Ganassi, with Scott Dixon having a dominant season so far in IndyCar, but of course missed out on the big one with Takuma Sato taking the win there. But look, here we go then, down the straight they go, the Orion guys just drafting away with one another. But look, here comes Aeronom, the leader of the GS class. He's now got a lead of, well, actually it's come down a little. It's about 1.8 seconds. No, it's not. No. Actually, around that little flip-flop section, the Miatas are actually slightly quicker. I actually imagine Aero will be pushing as hard as he can here, but here we go. Now he can open up that big Detroit muscle, flying past these Japanese minnows. Round they go then. And their Aeronom is able to get by. But look at this for Cameron Martineau. He's probably going to be able to get this move done without any loss in lap time at all. He's onto the straight now, and he'll be able to pass all these three Miatas on the straight. So that is going to make a big difference in the battle for the lead in the GS class.
Yeah, that was a prayer for Cameron Martineau that Aeronom caught them in the museum section. They were so tight to just even think about passing in there is extremely bad idea, as Allen is our first taker into the pit lanes for our MX.
Interesting call there from Allen, of course. Just lost that back of that front pack, but he can come in and he'll try to get that undercut. Now, interestingly, we saw the Jap going up there. He's going for some tyres, some left-hand side tyres at least. I'm not sure if he's going to go for the other side as well. We do sometimes see some drivers going for just one side of the car where it gets worked much harder, and certainly here at Indianapolis that's the left-hand side of the tyre, given the amount of right-handers here. But that's interesting to see one of our Miatas take tyres.
Well, he did have that spin, and that spin may have worn off the tires, and maybe there's also the case of he just forgot.
Possibly, yeah, you never know. But interestingly as well, to be honest, Austin, I don't know if you have. I've only done some kind of short sprint races in the last week or so. Has there been any major kind of change to the way the tyres behave since the big update a week ago?
No major changes that I know of, besides the Formula 1 tires adding soft, medium, and hard compounds. And look at that, the Orion squad is arriving into the pits. They lead together, they pit together, they race together.
Yep, they do. The Orion trio, they're certainly getting plenty of opportunities for a good team shot for the team Christmas card, that's for sure. As we see a number of our Miata runners coming in. So interestingly, looks like they're all covering Allen. That's interesting indeed from our Miata runners. So here they go then. Don't worry, they've all got their own personal pit crews here. Now, will we see the... Yes! All three Orion drivers taking tyres on the left-hand side. Now, do they take them on the right-hand side?
No, it's just left side.
No, just left side. So, So the cars, really, the little Miatas, they're punishing those left-hand side tyres around the right-hand bends here at Indianapolis. Of course, if they were on the oval, it'd be the other way around, wouldn't it?
It would be, but I'm not surprised that they are only taking left sides because this track punishes those right-hand turns because no elevation change, no real banking helping out these cars. In that opening sector, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right-hand turns immediately after each other, and those are the fastest corners on this track, especially in the opening sector. They're coming out in traffic right now as we're looking at Elvis Rankin and Mike Taylor going side by side, and Rankin down onto the inside, making clean work with those tires showing up all the grip right now, especially through that turn. I'm not surprised that they aren't taking left tires. It's not a very stressed part of the car. The only left-hand turn that is reasonable is turn 2 and turn number 5, and that's that long left-hander. This is also a left-hander right here, but you're braking into it. It's just a coastal turn, and this chicane, very coastal. And then you got that double right-hander. Look at this switchback by Rankin. Kevin Ford just swooped by his nose.
Yep, so Elvis Rankin, he's showing in third right now, but when this all shuffles out, he will retain the lead of the race. But interestingly, the Orion Wolfpack, well, they've been, the three-car Wolfpack, they've been broken up a little bit because Thorman, he's in, sorry, my apologies, be quiet, Peter. Mike Dam in second, Net and Schwenke third out of that Orion trio. But interesting to see if they'll bunch back together, and when they do bunch back together, how they settle the score at the end of the race.
They're going to bunch back together as Mike Dam sends it up into the inside. Up in a second on Kevin Forrest. Schwenke gets into contact with Taylor at the back of this group.
Now, unless Kevin Ford's changed car, I believe he's in the Mustang.
This is Lucas Ford.
Yes, we've got two Fords. We've got lots of Fords. We've got Ford the manufacturer and Ford the second name as well. Sorry about that one, viewers. But yes, yeah, Schwenke's normally really solid, really consistent. But yeah, he's taken some. He's got some war scars there, and that is not good news because he has lost touch with his two Orion teammates. Speaking of losing touch, these guys certainly are. Jacobs and Kernan having another ding-dong battle here down into turn 1. Jacobs has got a preferable line, just blocks it on the apex there. Good move, takes the place.
Yeah, Kernan, he has made a move around the outside before, and technically speaking, around the outside is more preferable than down to the inside. But turn 1 is so tight, especially with that curb that just extends onto the track. If that curb wasn't there, that turn would be so much tighter to take in and very, as some might say, boring to watch. But with that curb extended just a little bit out there, it's very entertaining. And these guys using all the track right now. And hello, 3 wide in Indianapolis. It's a Miata party right now. They battle out for 4th in class. Duncan, Porchinu, and Eben. And oh, we got a Ford kicking up a lot of dust right now. And that's the 79 of Nicholas Porchinu going down all the way over to the pit wall. We get the 33 Mustang in there. It's a gaggle of cars, and it kind of looks like a track day right now.
Well, it kind of looks like a hippo with 5 angry flies around it. It's it kind of sounds like one too, and this is hilarious. You look at these little Miatas; they're so good around the turns that this number 33 car, the Mustang, really struggling around these little Miatas are just horrible. Do you know what this reminds me of a little bit, Austin? And this is me putting my history. This reminds me of the RS Spider Porsche, just threatening all the big Audi diesels, and even though it was a P2 car, it got up there and battled with those big Audi monsters.
This looks like my dad is trying to deal with me and my sisters as kids.
I can see who was the boss there. So, finally, Mustang, they're getting up, able to open up all that power and get past on the straight, but these little Miatas, they're so good around the twisty parts with their lightweight, makes such a big difference. But Elvis Rankin, he's beginning to stretch his teammate Mike Dam here. Mike Dam really struggling to hang on to Elvis Rankin, and tell you what, Elvis Rankin is just on a tear. He nearly won by a whole lap in our last GT Challenge race at Laguna Seca. He won last time out in this particular series at Montreal, but he's just on a tear right now. He just gets better and better all the time.
Now, Mike Dam is going to catch up to Rankin. He was within 2.4 seconds. That is the threshold where you're going to start feeling that pull from the car ahead of you. Indianapolis, so long, top speed straight. It's pretty much flat out from the very last corner after that museum turn. That right-hander, it's just flat out right there. That's where the traffic system affected that entire time. So Mike Dam's already on the back of Elvis Rankin. Now, Travis Schwenke, he's got some damage. I feel like he's just going to be sitting in third all by himself right now doing that damage MX-5. Yeah, and there's no one around him anyway, so he's sitting pretty right now.
Absolutely, I can completely agree. He's got 11 seconds back to Eben in fourth. So Travis Schwenke, you know, he's got a good position in the championship right now, sitting in fourth. Unfortunately, two of his rivals, Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin, are ahead of him. But you never know what can happen throughout the race. But Travis Schwenke doing the right thing, just keeping it nice and tidy. But look what has ignited at the front of our GS field. It's a Mustang battle here between Cameron Martineau in the 31, running the 31 of Whalen Engineering and Action Express Racing, and or the traditional number, and hunting down the Estonian Aeronom here. And I tell you what, this has been a superb drive from Cameron Martineau. So often we've seen Aeronom just get into the lead and clear away, but Martineau is not letting this game.
Yeah, Martineau's chasing down Aeronom right now, and he's just staying with him. And I feel like we're going to see more pit stop battles between these two. And it's going to be mostly fuel. I think we're going to see right side tires as... Oh, that is Aeronom looking into the pit lane.
So let's see. Yes, he's gone in. Well spotted, Austin. Martineau goes around. Now, this is going to be interesting because I would suspect if the Miatas need the tires, I suspect the... Ford Mustangs will definitely need them due to this much larger weight that these cars have. So this is really smart. You're absolutely right. This has got undercut written all over it, which means he can get out there on those new tires and just lap that little bit quicker than Martineau. This could be critical, but Martineau, you never know. He could be playing the blinder as well. It could come down to traffic.
Yeah, this is why it was smart. Aeronom, he saw that he was coming up to a giant pack of 7 MX-5s right now. That Martinez is in there right now, and Aeronom, right side tires as well, spins him up and lets him fly as he exits pit lane. And Cameron Martineau, oh, this is very crowded for him. He wants to clear this pack as soon as possible. Now, he's not going to run into them. By the way, he's actually getting a little bit of help from them, so it's not as big of a deficit as I thought it was going to be, and Martineau might have a faster car through this. He's just going to have one heck of an in-lap right now, and he's getting some draft help from these MX-5s. So it's going to be very close between Martineau and Aeronom. But he's not deciding to pit. He's staying out once more, and, well, those MX-5s are blocking his pit lane entrance.
Yeah, I wonder if that maybe had something to do with it. Maybe he wanted to go in. But anyway, the Cameron Martineau going for a quite different strategy here from his race rival, Aeronom. And this will be fascinating to see how this one plays out.
Nom's going to fight with Ford, too. Nom makes it right out, right next to Kevin Ford, not Lucas Ford. And now these two are having a battle around MX-5s. So Aeronom, if he gets into a swiper of a battle with Kevin right here, we might be looking at Martineau bringing a new leader of the race. But Kevin Ford has not taken tires, and Aeronom has more grip than Kevin. So I'm not surprised to see Aeronom starting to pull away from Kevin Ford. But Kevin will be there for a while until he needs to pit.
has Kevin come through to pit lane yet? Has
No.
he taken his pit stop? He hasn't. No, of course he had that issue at the beginning of the race, spinning off. Very uncharacteristic mistake from Kevin. Don't forget, he's our championship leader, but yeah, he's going. Interesting that he's going long into the race after taking that little bit of damage early in the race, but that's not holding him back anyway. But to hang on to someone like Aeronom is no mean feat at all. But let's just keep a close eye on where Cameron Martineau, and look at this, like you called it, Austin, more traffic for Cameron Martineau. This is going to cause him big problems. He can't be lapping much faster, or he can't be lapping as fast as Aeronom right now. So he's finally decided to come in and stem the flow of the bleeding.
Now he can go without taking tires. That was a very risky pit entry. His car almost veered straight into the pit wall, and I had a big flashback of a Williams car at Hungary just eating a pit wall. Now what Cameron can do, he can take tires, but he will be overtaken by Aeronom.
Risk it.
What I think we might be seeing, gambling is legal in Indiana. I think we're going to see a gamble right here and not see tires being taken.
Oh no! Oh, he's got it. Do you know what, Austin?
I
tell you what,
to
he should have been listening to our Apex Racing TV coverage and listened to his broadcast crew chief, Austin Knight.
Oh wait, but watch this exit. It's going to be close.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be on the Apex, but he has to get out onto track right now. Martineau getting right beside Aeronom. Aeronom just squeezing it by, and Martineau hanging it onto the curb. So Martineau and Aeronom resume their fight, but now it's a three-way fight. Well, Kevin Ford's just back there. He stayed out. But the battle for first in class, even though it was separated by a few incidents of traffic, they're still with each other. But I'm going to tell you what, Cameron Martineau's pit stop was legendary. 2 seconds faster than Aeronom.
Wow,
Aeronom's full-up pit lane was 58.2. Cameron Martineau threw that thing into pit entry with a 56.57 pit lane time. His standing still time was a 16.47. So at the end of the day, I know those guys on Cameron's pit crew are getting their drinks paid for, especially if they comes out on top.
Yeah, and the other thing might be as well is that given that Cameron Martineau was sort of in following range of Aeronom, he might have actually got an ever so minute fuel benefit. You never know. The other theory I have, Austin, and it's just a theory, is that although Cameron Martineau went and did 2 or 3 more laps than Aeronom, now these Mustangs, they burn through a lot of fuel per lap. So of course, and if you burn through fuel, you're burning off weight. And I suspect that maybe just those last couple of laps before the pit stop might have just given Cameron Martineau just that a couple of laps on low fuel, maybe.
Oh, that was Aeronom setting it down onto the inside of a lapped car, and he's pulled out a good gain, and that was a very smart move to do that right there, because Cameron is stuck behind the 51 of Robert Burst, who was on that inside of that corner right now. And now look at the gap between Aeronom and Martineau. 1.6 seconds separates them as they're racing out in the infield here at Indianapolis. And Cameron just dealing with Miata right now. Same with Aeronom.
Now look what we have here. All of a sudden, we have Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin absolutely glued together. So Mike Dam has reeled in his teammate and passed him. So now we're going to see a battle exploding at the front of our ST class. And Mike Dam, he's obviously been on a charge the last couple of laps while we've been watching that GS battle.
Yeah, Mike Dam definitely on a charge. Same with Elvis Rankin, but I have a feeling the ball's in Elvis Rankin's court. Mike Dam has made a few mistakes here. We saw that at the very start of this race. He got into the grass at turn 1. He just actually got into the grass again in the same exact turn. Not turn 1. I call it turn 1 because I don't really count turn 1. There are like 3 turn 1s on this track. But it's sector 1 it is, really. But Mike Dam, he's a little bit inconsistent around here compared to Elvis Rankin, and he's made a few mistakes already. So I feel like this is Elvis Rankin. He's just going to stick with Mike Dam and try to convince him to maybe make a move. But they're on the same team, so you don't really want to force a mistake.
Interestingly there, Mike Dam taking a lot of inside curb, in fact putting a wheel on the grass on the inside, so
he jumped it.
Yeah, he jumped it over, yeah, so he'll be like getting close to ruffling the feathers of the race stewards there, but he carries on nonetheless. But now Elvis Rankin is in the draft, so the number 1 car, Elvis Rankin, he's definitely got the run of Mike Dam here. Mike Dam's not gonna contest it too much, it seems. They go side by side down into turn 1. Who's going to be last on the brakes? They're pretty evenly matched. Elvis Rankin gets his nose ahead. He moves over a little, but gives Mike Dam space. Oh, my Damage, you're right. Well spotted, Austin. He's been really loose on the brakes. Your Bergmeister style a couple of times going into turn 1. But yeah, that's going to be interesting when we get to the very end of the race in 19 minutes' time.
Some drivers and brake bias, they like it very far forward. I'm a guy who loves very far forward brake bias. I'm very soft on the brakes. I don't like slamming it down. What Mike Dam has, he has a very low brake bias, so that car is very unstable in braking, but he has the ability just to slam his foot down, use all the brakes out once, and that instability in the car is that very short brake bias. And what can improve that, especially in sim racing, is the level of equipment. And what these guys normally do, and I know Ricmotech, they have a great load cell pedal, and that really helps with nailing down your braking and how you want to brake in these cars, because the level of equipment that you have in sim racing will help you with performance. And Ricmotech, they sell very good pedals, especially with their low cell pedals. Hashtag not sponsors. Hashtag the series is sponsored, and they have great stuff.
They absolutely do. Yeah, very, very high-end sim racing equipment. And Nick Tandy, he always says that he's obviously a very accomplished real-world racer. But yeah, he always says that pedals are the most important thing. Speaking of Ricmotech, let's take a very brief break for a message from our sponsors. Welcome back to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the real home of motorsport. So, lap 27 then, 15 minutes to go here at Indianapolis, and this is an intriguing battle between the newfound teammates at Orion Racing, Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin. Orion Racing certainly spreading their bets, getting the very best drivers in the championship, but this is the other side of the coin. This must be a little bit of a nervous watch for the Orion team, but and in GS, well, we have Aeronom just starting to stretch that gap away from Cameron Martineau. Nearly 3 seconds now between that pair, so Aeronom looking in control to win his second race in a row after his triumphant victory at Montreal. And looking at the championship points, he might well leapfrog and pass Kevin Ford and take the championship lead.
Yeah, Kevin Ford's all the way down there to 7th. That early contact with the wall, it hurt him a lot, but Aeronavis, just consistency week after week, all the way, always up there. And, well, he's pulled out a gap to Cameron right behind him. And he's got 15 minutes left. I'm not saying he's got it locked in right now, but Aeronavis certainly looking as a favorite.
Yeah, the Aeronaut is just so consistent, and of course he's got that classic ice-cool Estonian Baltic temperament. You know, you see it with a lot of the Finnish racing drivers. Well, the Estonians just over the border, and just the same. Like Tanak, current reigning World Rally Champion, he's absolutely unflappable. And of course, we've spoken to Aero a few times post-race, and he's very, very calm, and that really comes through in his driving. Very rarely see him make a mistake. And this is a bit of a it's a friendly wild animal, but it's a wild animal nonetheless, is this Mustang.
Yeah, it's a very likable beast. Sure, it's a Mustang. It's a lot of people like to ride Mustang wild horses. Seeing them in the wild is very beautiful, but they do not like to be approached sometimes, and that's kind of this car in a nutshell. It's very beautiful, it's very fast, but they can get a little bit rowdy.
Absolutely, you've got to treat it with respect. As we see Greg now, we're looking at Greg Mack coming into. He's running in where he is running in second in class right now. 6th overall in the Miatas. So we have two classes for Miatas. We have the ST Pro and the ST Open. And the ST Open class is the class that Greg Mack is running in his number 2 machine. But Elvis Rankin now ahead of Mike Dam, just actually opening up the gap slightly, and he's over a second now. Now, that's still close enough to get a bit of a draft benefit, Austin, but that's interesting to see Elvis just pulling away that little bit.
Yeah, Elvis Rankin, it's all about how you take these corners now. It's all about consistency, how you take these corners, and if you're jumping the chicane and getting a slowdown.
Yeah, that's going to make a huge difference as well. It seems to me that that's maybe what's happened to Mike Dam. You mentioned that consistency. That's the thing that Elvis is, from a man of such tender years, only 13 years old. He is just so consistent. Very, very rarely drops his concentration, and very, very rarely do you ever see him even make close to a mistake in any class, where it's this MX-5 or whether it's in the sports car series in his Porsche GT4 or in the GT Challenge in his Ferrari GT3.
Yeah, this kid is impressive to watch. I know we say it a lot. Mike Dam's caught up with that draft, but he's using all of the track, and then some of the lawn care. Pretty sure Penske is going to have to paying a few angry groundskeepers, but Dam just gone wide through that left-hander right there. So not taking left-hand tires, none of these guys is. They're going to be struggling through that turn, especially at the end of this race with 10 minutes to go. I want to retract one statement. MX-5 does not have brake bias in their cars, but the amount of brake pressure that you do apply, how much brake you use going into the corner will still act like brake bias.
Absolutely. So in other words, if you're actually, there's a really interesting contrast that you can see, and that's the great thing about these MX-5s is you can really see the driver's style coming out, a bit like almost in motorcycle racing. You'll see the way that the rider sits on the bike and the way that they lean into the corner. Well, this is, to me, Austin, you've done a lot more racing than I have. Elvis just seems like he just brakes Jackie Stewart style, very softly applying the brake and then squeezing it on, whereas Mike Dam, he goes more of a Max Verstappen style, just stands on the brake, Gilles Villeneuve style if you like, and incredibly contrasting styles, but very close to maximum time.
Yeah, Rankin dives down to the inside as they go past a laps car right there.
Mistake!
And Rankin Well, the way that he went down to the inside, that was a very aggressive dive. Mike Dam kept it wide. That lap car, he gave way to them, and now Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin going side by side through these corners right now. Dam onto the inside, Rankin's on the inside, Dam's on the outside, and Rankin just barely has the edge into that corner. Now, that was a little bit of miscommunication between Elvis Rankin and that lap car. He didn't know that lap car was going to do that, go straight off into the grass and just let these two by. But Elvis was already committed on diving into there, and he compromised his line into turn 1. So Mike Dam, he's on the bumper of Elvis Rankin. We got a race right now. 9 minutes left.
Yep, here we go then. 9 minutes to go, and yeah, Mike Dam is right there. Expect him to be able to draft by and take the lead back down into turn 1. He's right on the back bumper of Elvis Rankin. I tell you what, folks, that clip you just saw there, well, that's put that one in your scrapbook, because you do not see Elvis Rankin make those sorts of mistakes very often. And like as you said, Austin, actually more to do with the lap traffic.
It wasn't
that slight unpredictable. Yes, absolutely, just a little bit of unpredictability, but you've got to deal with that. And here goes Mike Dam. Yes, Mike Dam goes by then, nice and easy. It just shows you how important that draft is. Now, this is interesting. We're going to get a good look at the braking here. Oh, that's a bit cheeky, is it not, Austin? Just cutting in front of his nose there.
Yeah. If they weren't teammates, I would see Mike Dam getting a little bit of talking to after this race. That was a very risky move what Dam did. Chopped the nose off of Elvis Rankin, and we know his braking style compared to Elvis' style. That's not a good mix, but it was a very risky move to do that, because that could have taken both of these guys out of this race, and Orion would have thrown a headset or two.
Absolutely. I don't think Elvis Rankin would have appreciated that move. There is it's one of these things, you do not move under the braking.
Oh yeah, Elvis did not like it, because he's going for this move right now.
Here he goes then. This is a left-hand turn. He's got the inside line. Through he goes. That's an interesting tactic. Now that tells a big story, doesn't it, Austin? Because he could have easily just sat behind Mike Dam there and then drafted by him. But I think that's him. Do you think that's him making a point? Do you think?
That was a point. We have never seen Elvis Rankin, anyone in the Orion team, make a move on that left-hander right there. That means Elvis is not happy by what Mike Dam just did. Might just be a little bit of communication error, lapse of judgment, but we're going to see if Mike Dam does it again, and if this might turn into a boiling point. Right now, Mike Dam, he's bump drafting him.
Here it goes then. Oh, now look at this. That's Aaron Nom and Cameron Martineau coming up behind. So this is going to be absolutely fantastic and very interesting to see. Now, what's also interesting is that Mike Dam did not decide to make that move on Elvis Rankin. If I were Mike Dam, I would have. But here we go then. Here come the GS runners. Big would cut the inside. Oh dear. Oh, the traffic taking the way. But Mike Dam will be furious at the wheel of that Miata as Aaron Nom barges his Mustang through. And that is just giving Elvis Rankin that little bit of breathing space, hasn't it?
I feel like Mike Dam is going to try to use Aeronom as a pick past Elvis Rankin right now. He was looking for it. Rankin went wide. He went by that DRS sign, and if you go past that DRS sign, you get a slowdown penalty. And in this update, you now get a countdown on how long you have until you serve that penalty. And Elvis Rankin goes wide, and here comes Mike Dam. These guys are wheel to wheel right now through the museum chicane. Dam's loose.
Yeah, that is not only has that affected the MX-5 battle between Dam and Rankin, that has brought Martineau much closer to Aaron Nom. So once again, Martineau profiting from the traffic. But tell you what, Aaron Nom just seems, no matter what's thrown at him, he just seems to have that bit of pace in hand to be able to just drag away from Martineau.
Well, these guys, they're smart. They know it's a two-class series. They kind of set aside their fight, and they're pushing a little bit
to let these guys pass. They know they can't pull away from each other with this draft. Mike Dam's already back on the back of Elvis Rankin, and now he's lifting. Mike Dam, he's setting up for a move. I expect Mike Dam's going to be looking for that last lap pass, and Elvis Rankin, oh, that was the first mistake I've seen from him. He rode onto that curb just a little bit, got very sideways heading into turn 1.
Yeah, that was a really interesting, that wasn't even a small lift, that was a huge lift there from Mike Dam. So he obviously had no interest in making a move there on Elvis Rankin. Very interesting indeed. So, like you say, he's Mike Dam's very experienced. He's just keeping his powder dry, I think, just planning something. But what's it going to be? We'll find out, viewers. We've only got just over 3.5 minutes to go before the hour elapses and the white flag will come out.
Oh.
Well, is he going to do a Rankin here into the left-hander? Oh, he's thinking about it.
I feel like he just showed his hand on where he's going to try to make that overtake. Last lap, Indianapolis Road, back straight. He's going to try to send it up the inside right there.
Well, we'll need to wait and see. Still plenty of racing to go, but look at this. The traffic has just not been kind at all to Aeronom, and Martin, no, he's in the draft now. Look at that. He's in the draft of Nom.
Oh, that MX-5 almost got murdered.
Here we go. Here we go. Martineau's gonna. Can he make a move? Can he make a big dive? Can he slow Aeronom's pace up? He's close enough if he wants to give it a try. Will he?
No.
No, thinks better of it, but there's more traffic to contend with. As we see Elvis Rankin and Mike Dam side by side. Right, here goes Mike Dam now. Is he going to pull the same move?
Yes, he got
and
close.
Look at the wiggle on Rankin there.
He got close. Rankin was a bit shaken by it. He didn't close him off completely, but he did take away the lane.
Yes, it was a marginally more polite than the first one.
That was a car stopped in the gravel. You didn't see it because it was pretty much camouflaged with that paint scheme it's got. But, oh, this lap car is going to be helping Elvis Rankin now as Mike Dam's being held up by this. Who is this lap car? And, oh, there might have been contact right there.
Oh, I've been there as the lap car so many times, and you know it's the leaders coming up behind you, and you wish you could just teleport out the way, but sometimes there's just nowhere to go, and it's really, really tough.
Damn, around the outside.
Oh, here goes Rankin. He's doing it again.
Rankin's died in. Oh my goodness, how they not make contact right here? Mike Dam back onto the inside, back to the lead, but now Rankin down onto the inside, jumping over the curb, using that power to turn that car in, but Dam round the outside. Held it onto the inside of Elvis Rankin, and Mike Dam still into the lead. Here with less than 2 minutes to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin battling out for the lead.
Oh, this is fantastic stuff there. Elvis Rankin pulling off that move again in the middle of the road course. We've not seen many overtaking maneuvers in the road course, but Elvis Rankin's been able to get it done as we see a massive Mustang coming up behind there. I think that is, now who is that? Jacobs coming through as well.
Elvis
and
is
Mike
using
Dam
Jacobs.
goes, oh, pick, basketball screen, here we go. It's Mike Dam though, has got the inside line, that's crucial, and he's just that tiny bit later on the brakes, but just about gets it pulled down, but I think Rankin maybe going to get a little bit of a run here coming out the exit. This is fascinating stuff, Austin.
I think we might have one more lap left for these guys because the leaders. No, wait, this might be the last lap coming out. Don't quote me on there, but physically impossible to see a Mustang chew through the last part of this track in 30 seconds.
No, I think you're right. I think this could be it then. I think you're right. So, could be then that, and look, Cameron Martineau on the, oh my goodness me, Cameron Martineau has got past Aeronom, but it's not done yet. Aeronom can get the power down, he has. Here we go then, we're taking a drag to the line. The hour is over, so the checkered flag will come out on the line here. I do not believe it. Cameron Martineau then gets the drag, but Aeronom cuts back. Can he make it to the line? Drag race down the front straight here at Indianapolis. Aeronom's got the run. Checkered flag is out. Who's going to make it to the line? It's Martineau.
Back to the MX-5s. Back to
wins.
Mike Dam.
Here we go. Mike Dam's in the lead from Elvis Rankin here. They're coming to the line now as well.
And Mike Dam is letting Elvis Rankin by. What?
I don't get it. That doesn't make sense to me. What is going on? But Mike Dam's now in the draft, and Rankin goes by. Now, I don't know what I've just seen, Austin. It just seemed that looked. I think you called it. I saw it the same as you. It looked like Mike Dam just pulled over and lifted off, but he might have got on the marbles and run loose. What do you think?
There was a lot of smoke coming out of the back of that car. He might have got into the marbles. They didn't change. Nope, they did change a lot of left side tires, but that just.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to find out, viewers.
Maybe the marbles.
Yeah, it could be marbles. We'll find out. Mike Dam usually comes in to chat to us, but before we do, we'll take a very brief break from a message from our sponsors, Ricmotech, and we will be right back with all the race results and post-race interviews. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a minute. You're on 8-Pick. Welcome back then to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. And well, talk about classic. That was a classic finish to both races. We're used to seeing it here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Oval, but here on the road course, well, we've been treated to an absolute cracker with Cameron Martineau taking the win by a whisker from Aeronom right at the very end. And Elvis Rankin, the Wonder Kid, what can we say about him? Taking the win on the very last corner with Mike Dam looking to have run wide going outside the last corner. So let's have a look at the full race results then on this incredible day here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So here we go then. Cameron Martineau wins by just 1/10 of a second from Aeronom. Jeff Jacobs rounds out the podium in third place for StreetSurvival.org. Tony Kernan was 4th and Clint Vigas was 5th. Steve Daniel was 6th, and your championship leader, not a good day for Kevin Ford in the 32 Ricmotech Motorsports machine, but he'll be back to fight another day. 8th was David Sanders, 9th was Robert Brest, and rounding out our GS runners was Shad Curran. And well, Elvis Rankin, well, he ran out of superlatives to describe the talent of this young man, edging out Mike Dam at the last gasp of the race. Travis Schwenke made it an Orion lockout of the podium, a 1-2-3 finish for Orion Racing. They'll be delighted with that. Jacob Beasley finishes 4th in class for D2D Esports. Brennan Horan was 15th overall, with Greg Mack in 16th. John Allen was 17th, Chris Thorman 18th. 19th was Jordy Fike, followed by Edgar Sancinelli, David Payton, Derek Holland, Greg Brockway, Mike Taylor, Nicholas Parciono, Casey Duncan, Michael Key, Patrick Pravenis, Lucas Ford, Clifford Eben, and finally, Mitchell Peake. So, Austin, do we have any of the drivers wanting to come in and have a little chat with us?
Yeah, we do. We got Elvis and Cameron standing by with us, and I think Greg might stop by as well. But the person I really do want to talk to is Mike Dam, because when we went into the break, I took a look at that replay, what happened on the last lap. It looked like Dam was trying to break off the draft and he went wide, but by doing so, he got into the marbles and he got loose, and that's what happened. He didn't let Elvis by. Elvis earned that one, but it was just a small mistake on Mike Dam's part that let Elvis into the win. And instead of just talking about it, let's actually go and interview him about it.
Okay, so let's get the thoughts of Elvis Rankin then here in the commentary box here on Apex Racing TV. Elvis, what an incredible race that was. We always spoiled to some wonderful action with you guys in the Miatas, but tell us about your strategy today, because you and Mike were so close on pace, but it really was about being smart today, and you certainly were today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure. Today's strategy was the game. I want to first off, I want to thank my teammate Robert Hartley. He didn't get to show up tonight, but I've raced him 2 times at this track in 2 different kind of cars. One of them was in the Mazda, and one of them was in a BMW GT4. And both times he beat me, and it really was coming into my head tonight of what if I was in that last lap spot, what I had to do to try and get it done tonight. And I felt like I just had to be nice and patient. I wanted to be second coming in the last lap. I wanted to get a good enough run coming off of the final corner. Mike tried a little bit of a strategy game. He tried to take the outside line to try and get back in my draft and get a big slingshot. I think he was thinking the line was a little bit further down. But yeah, our Ryan Mazda MX-5 was rocket fast all night. I want to thank Orion Race Team and my teammates, Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke. We did amazing tonight. 1, 2, 3 for the team. That's definitely the best possible result that we could have got tonight.
Absolutely. Now, tell us about that, because Orion Racing, they're certainly, we were talking about it in the broadcast, buying up all the talent. And how has that been with you? Obviously, Mike's a relatively new addition to the team. How has that been with a lot of your rivals now becoming teammates as well? How are you handling that challenge?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always really good friends with Mike. I've been good friends with Travis. And, I joined Orion Race Team. And then it was kind of my team asked me if there was anybody fast that I knew that really I thought would be good for the team. So I kind of just said these 3 guys. And I'm so thankful that some of my best friends on sim racing get to be my teammates now. That's like for a lifelong dream for me, because when you meet these guys for the first time, and I came in first and I was a little intimidated by how fast they were and how much pace they had, but I've started to learn off them a lot. So now I never would have thought that they would have became my teammates for sure.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear that it's going so well. Now, Elvis, I know that you race here in the sim, but also in the real world. Any real world racing exploits you can tell our viewers about how you've been getting on?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I did a big test this weekend. I can't really disclose that much because it's still in the making. But let's just say going into tonight, I was a little sore. I did not know how I was gonna go tonight, but yeah, did a big test for my my real career this weekend. Now we're gonna see what the next kind of chapters are for me and take a look at the drawing board for 2021.
Well, that's incredibly exciting, and I wish you all the very best of luck with that, Elvis. Before we let you go, who would you like to give a shout out to live here on the Apex Racing TV broadcast?
Yeah, first off, I want to thank my team, Orion Race Team. I thanked him earlier. Frosty St. Clair for bringing me into the team, for helping bring my friends into the team, and that's just the coolest thing I've ever seen. My teammates, Mike Dam, Travis Schwenke, Robert Hartley, who didn't get to show tonight, so that's unfortunate. We want to see him back in the car really soon. I'm having a bit of brain fart here. Yeah, I want to thank Mike especially tonight because he ran me super hard, super clean. And he was actually the person that was in charge of making our setup tonight. With the Season 4 build just coming out, Mike took the time and he made a rocket ship car tonight. And all of our cars could not have performed as good as they did tonight without him. Our sponsors for the Sim World, for Orion Race Team, Joel Real Timing, HPP Pedals. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. My mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa supported me all the way through sim racing. I couldn't do what I can do without them, real track or sim. Ricmotech for helping sponsor the series, and if without Ricmotech, could not put this series on. If you need sim equipment, go to Ricmotech, buy Ricmotech equipment. Best equipment I've ever ran. Extreme 99 and the admins for the series, Kevin Ford, Jeff Jacobs, Russ Ruddock, Bobby Childs, we couldn't do without them. They put all this series on, and they do the long hours behind the computer screens figuring out what we have to do now. And yeah, you guys at Apex Racing TV for putting the broadcast on and allowing us, and for me tonight, to be able to go back and watch that amazing race between me and Mike Dam.
Well, you'll hear Austin and I get just as excited as normal. So enjoy watching the broadcast back and go and enjoy the win, Elvis. Thanks for joining us.
I will. Thank you, guys.
So next up is Cameron Martineau, our GS class winner, who's with Austin Knight.
Cameron, this is Austin the booth. Do you copy?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely crystal clear. It was coming out of the pit lane, it didn't look like you had the strategy to win it, but you had the traffic playing in your favor, and nearing the last lap, you swiped into the lead and got one over on Aeronom, which is something that rarely happens. So walk us through that move.
Yeah, so it was definitely coming down the straightaway, seeing some of the ST traffic and kind of getting a gauge of where Eero was going to get held up, or whether or not we were going to get held up in 1 and 2. And I kind of whole race was just trying to stay close enough to him to get that sort of opportunity, just be in the right place at the right time. And I saw the ST car was being a bit indecisive, and basically said that was my opportunity. So I tried to use him as a sort of a pick, and just shot right up the inside of both of them. And from there was hoping that the draft wasn't strong enough where he could catch right back up and pass me on that last lap.
Well, multi-class racing produces a very, very exciting racing, and what a finish right there, and what a win for you. Indianapolis and this car is very unique. Talk about the unique struggles the Mustang has here.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, one of the struggles I think was definitely with the pit strategy. It definitely was going to be a give and a take with, trying to take tires. So I decided to just take left sides, which I wasn't too sure what Eero did, whether he took 2 or 4. But, based off of the fuel, it really was, I was going to lose time if I was going to take 4. And, definitely with a lot of these, tight chicanes and sort of these, these long sweepers that set up into, these longer straightaways, it's definitely about, maximizing your exits, especially before the back straight and coming onto the front straight. I had a few missed shifts coming onto the front straight there, and, that was enough to get me outside side of the draft. So, definitely with the Mustang, it was a bit of a struggle, trying to, reduce the amount of wheel spin you got on exits here.
Well, you certainly mastered the car enough to stay with Aeronom, and you just know how to carve your way through lap traffic. It's a win for you here at probably the greatest place in all of motorsports. And that is a win here is just always so special. So congrats on there. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I just want to say a big shout out to Orion Racing and Aquila Racing for all my teammates, for helping us out and being a good collaboration. Just want to thank my dad and my grandparents who are watching at home, the admins who, Jeff, Russ, Bobby, and Kevin, of course, who put on a great show, and you guys as well in the broadcast for putting on a great show for everyone that watches.
Well, congrats to you, Cameron. I'm wishing you a happy night as you go celebrate this win. And speaking of wins, we have our ST Open class winner.
Thanks,
His first ever win right now, and that is Brennan Huron, and he's standing by with Peter Huron. With Peter McKay.
Brennan Horan, welcome to the commentary box. Congratulations on your ST Open Class win tonight. How does it feel?
Thank you. It feels awesome to be up here. My first win pretty much in any series, never mind a great series like Extreme, so it's great to be here.
I bet. And I have a stat for you, which I think you will like. You were only 0.003 of a second off your fastest lap of the fastest lap of our overall race winner in class overall, Elvis Rankin. How does that feel?
That's even better.
Now, tell us about these. It was pretty busy today at Indianapolis with the two classes. Multi-class racing is always hard. Now, it's just as difficult for the faster cars as it is for the slower cars. How did you find it with the big Mustangs coming through?
It's always fun with the big Mustangs, but I think these new tires really added a new level of difficulty because going into the braking zones, the rear end just likes to walk around on you, so you can't really get too close to people or let people get too close to you. But overall, they were pretty well behaved and went really good.
Oh, fantastic! And this particular, Indianapolis is obviously the oval is incredibly famous, obviously, but the road course, some people like it, some people hate it. Where does it fall in your book?
Well, at the beginning of this weekend, I absolutely hated it. I hate learning new tracks, and this one was definitely a really hard one to learn. But now that I've learned it and raced it, and obviously now that I've won here, it's definitely a good track in my book. So it's really good.
It's a new favourite after your first win. It'll have to be a soft spot. I had that with Detroit Belle Isle, actually. I love it now. Now, Brennan, while you're live here on Apex Racing TV, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
Yeah, I got to give a big thanks to my mom, my grandparents. I know they're out in the living room right now watching the broadcast, so I'll be out in a second, guys. Don't worry.
Hi, Mom.
Big shout out. Big shout out to Extreme. Such a great series, great admins, great drivers. Doesn't get any better than that. Great team esport racer, Greg Brockway with the awesome setups as always, and it's run by Greg Mack. And shout out to you guys for a great broadcast because I watch it while I'm racing, so get some insider information from you guys.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. Well, Brennan, go and enjoy the win with Mum and Grandma, and hopefully we'll speak to you again here in the Apex Racing TV commentary box very soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
So that was your ST Open Class winner, Brennan Horan, getting his first ever win in the series at a track where he only just became familiar with this week. What a great performance from him. Let's take a very quick look then on what to expect here in the next couple of weeks in the Ricmotech paddock. Of course, we've had a little bit of a mid-season break with the goings-on of the new iRacing season, etc. But we have lots of racing coming up for you every Monday night, running all the way to Christmas time. Next up, next week, the same time next week, is the Sports Car Series, where we see the GT4s from Porsche and BMW running alongside the touring cars from Audi. So an old German affair there, and some brilliant multi-class racing. If you saw our race there at Watkins Glen, you'll know just how exciting it can get. In 2 weeks' time, on the 28th of September, our GT Challenge are back at the wonderful Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, a really tight and technical circuit. It'll be fascinating to watch that. Finally, we're back in the Classic Sprint Series on the 5th of October in 3 weeks' time at one of my absolute favourites in North America, Lime Rock Park. A nice tight and twisty circuit for our little Miatas to spin around behind the Mustangs. That's all we got time for tonight then on Apex Racing TV. A huge thank you to my broadcast partner, Austin Knight, and also Dennis Branch in production, bringing you these wonderful graphics and images throughout the evening. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Equipment and Elite Texas Proforma Graphics for their support of the series. You can go to www.extrememotorsports99.com for more information about how you can get involved in the Ricmotech paddock racing. But without further ado, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here in the Ricmotech Sports Car Series.